Hey, welcome to Two Cents episode 92. It is April 23rd, 2017. Thanks for celebrating another week with us. This is the Live Undoctored News Show we do here at Dollar Reviews, where we cover tech, TV, movies, streaming, VR, sometimes even video games. I'm Brian Gillis. You can see our website at dollarreviews.net. Follow us along on Twitter at Dollar Reviews, and that's the same name just about everywhere on the internet. If you're too lazy to do that, you can Google Debts of Cinema. You'll find our content that way. If you don't know what all that is, we'll be talking about later. As I said, my name is Brian. It's harder to spell than it sounds. It's BRYONGILLIS. You can follow along for my personal stuff just about everywhere on the internet. And I'm not here alone. I'm here with Stephen Mominax.
Salutations.
You already gave up trying to... Was the pirate like the final straw? It was the...
I mean, it's been new every week. I haven't used that one, have I ever? Salutations? I have not said that.
Who says hello that way, though? That's what I'm saying.
But
like,
this is
the barrels run
92
dry.
episodes in. I have to find ways.
Hey,
Can I make it to 100?
For you, it's closer to like 80.
I mean, yeah, okay. I've been here... No, I've probably 85. You give me some credit
No,
here.
it's like 80. I got an episode with Greg, an episode with Gio.
Mm-hmm.
I got
You got several with Tyler.
4 or 5 with Tyler. Yeah, I have.
There was one
2 or
I
3
was
alone.
supposed to be on, but then your computer died,
Yeah,
and that's
I
why
have-
you redid it alone. But
Yeah, I have like
Well,
2 or
I-
3 that I did alone.
still,
I
I was there to
have,
record that though. That was my time being used up. I don't know. There has to be some sympathy on that one.
No,
I-
yeah,
I think for, like, at
it's,
least-
it's around 10 episodes
That I actually bat out on. I'm gonna have to count that.
that you're just
man.
not on. That you're actually just not on. And then there's
I feel like
also
it
the one
wasn't
with Brennan
till, like-
from Scream 101 where you slept through half the thing. That's episode like
That was in
It's
March,
like episode
yeah.
40. No,
Yeah.
it's episode 37. Co-host switcheroo.
But well, that's funny. That's that number. But yeah, no, it wasn't until like June, I think, or yeah, no, the beginning of June. That was when I was off for about a couple weeks. So there were at least 2, maybe 3 there, and then at least a couple when I went to Europe, and then I don't know, maybe I want to say it's like 5 minimum, but then maybe 7, but I don't know, 10 seems kind of like a lot. Anyway,
For those counting along at home, I'm only not on one of them. So before we start the show, though, I know you already know about this because you tweeted at me about it. Yesterday, I spent my day off playing a lot of PSVR stuff. It began with what? Oh no, I've been doing Werewolves Within a lot. I'll probably do it tonight. I like doing it late night on the weekends. It's fun for 30 40 minutes. You can listen back a couple episodes back, and I do a full-on review for that game, also on a Dollar Reviews episode. But I just felt like, I had the day off. I had a pretty long week. I didn't want to spend any money, so hey, why not play some virtual reality games that I've already done? I did Job Simulator earlier in the week, did all kinds of stuff. And I went, because I've been like going back and forth. I've been wanting to do Resident Evil 7 for the longest. Well, I mean, since I bought it launch week. And I was like, I need like stepping stones. I want to go full into the 100% VR experience, and especially something that scary. Let me do baby steps to that. And so I decided I'm going to try to play Until Dawn Rush of Blood, which, if you haven't heard of it, is a launch title from PSVR, which came out October 13th. We're past the 6-month point now. So it was right before Halloween, and it makes sense that they use this as a tie-in. It's a haunted house roller coaster railgun game. If that sounds awesome, it's because it is. And you can see me play it for not much time. Basically, I
just turn your
bitched
back
out.
away from it.
Yeah, I was live streaming on Twitch. I do that at twitch.tv/CSTRIFE991. That's C-Strife991. And so I tweet those out or retweet them from the Dollar Reviews account. And so I felt like doing it. It said there was a couple people watching, and when I was bitching out, I went to the chat for like someone to egg me on, and no one was saying anything, so I kind of just bitched out. But that's kind of for the better, because I came up with a great proposition. Since we do the show for free and all of our content, matter of fact, there's no ads, there's no product placement, there's nothing. There is an incentive now. If you go to patreon.com/dollarreviews, it's already been put on the site. You can already see the YouTube video, like I said. I will play it again, and I will live stream it once more, and I'll do it for real. If you donate $1, that's anyone, and it's $1 a month, not a one-time thing. If you back out on no, and I'll call you out on the show. If you become at least a $1 backer a month, I will do it again, and maybe other scarier things down the line. which includes, but is not limited to, Resident Evil 7. Plus, who knows what else is out there? Maybe like the Paranormal Activity thing. I'm not sure. But this is a real thing.
You know,
Patreon.com/dollar reviews.
no joke. I mean, I might be biased here, but that first minute alone where you just go, oh shit, right away, like before it really even starts, yeah, there's entertainment value there for me. I mean, I said it on Twitter, I'd buy that for $1. So come on, for incentive alone, that's got to be worth something. Like, it's just a teaser of things yet to come.
Yeah, I
I
already
want to
bought
watch it,
this
you guys.
shit. I own it. I have the platform. I'm able to distribute this and live stream it, and then also have a archive. I can put it on Twitch, and you can watch it that way of a past broadcast, or I can export to YouTube, which I've been doing for a while now. And speaking of, I actually updated our YouTube page this past week. Had fun with our layout, trying to make our social media look better. As I said earlier, we're all over the internet. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WordPress, and Tumblr. All of those are dollar reviews. And then if you want to listen to us outside of the internet, well, it's all the internet, but outside of a web browser, you can use Google Play Music, iTunes, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, as I said. And all of those, it's dollar reviews. YouTube, we're actually very lucky we have our own URL, despite not having enough subscribers. So if you like this content, like, subscribe, tell your friends. At YouTube, it's youtube.com/dollar reviews. No, dollar
Dollar
review.
review.
There's no S at the end
Yeah.
of it. So now that we've done that, we can start the show, and this is follow-up on a couple things that happened over the past couple of weeks, or months in one case, at the final news item here. So last week we were talking about Hulu, and the week before that we were talking about Hulu, and it's because, you know, they've been in this well since Criterion left them to do the Time Warner film struck, and they've been trying to build their film library. They've added Disney, and they've added some Epic stuff, and they added this and that, and last week they had a deal with Annapurna, so that's actually pretty big time. They've kind of topped that this week. It's in the same league, especially because we're trying to do an episode for Colossal. We don't know if it's going to be next week, maybe it's down the line. You already saw it, right? You saw it
I
yesterday?
did see it, yeah. On Friday
So
night.
that is put out by Neon, which is co-founded by Alamo Drafthouse founder, and also, I forget who the other guy is, like Tim Sweeney. Anyway, Neon has a lot of other things on the horizon. They picked up like 2 or 3 things at Sundance. They're probably going to do the same thing at Tribeca, maybe at Cannes. Big art house like film circuit, which makes sense because all of these films are clearly going to play at art house cinemas, at least the Alamo Drafthouse. And so Neon has an exclusive deal with Hulu now. They're going to have their streaming library in the pay window, which sounds, you know, all right on paper right now. They only truly have one film, even if a lot of people online are freaking out about it. That's going to build up the Hulu library. But even better than that, it could possibly mean James Bond. And we'll be talking about that later. That's a teaser for one of our headlines, and we'll have more teasers in a little bit now. I think this is awesome.
I mean, even for Hulu, it's not just going to be Colossal. You know, they got other stuff coming up. Like there's that new documentary from Laura Poitras. I'm gonna butcher the name, but yeah, she's got a documentary that centers around the election. That you know, even Drafthouse is pimping that out hard right now. Like if there's a trailer for Neon or Drafthouse Films or A24, they're gonna pump the shit out of it over there. But
I want to see
and then
your
there's some
WikiLeaks movie.
There's some other flick too from I don't even know
No,
the
they
name.
have a couple.
But,
They bought like 3 or 4 movies that's on Netflix. Like
yeah,
they
but,
have.
I think there's
things.
an Annapurna flick too. That's from what's her name? I can't remember the name of the title. I just know I've seen the trailer a few times. But from the person that directed a Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, or Woman Walks Home Alone at Night. Which one is it?
It's a girl.
Yeah, girl. Yeah, I don't have the title offhand. I know Keanu Reeves is in it, and Jason Momoa. But yeah, that's going to be coming out from them. And if that stuff is, you know, it turns out to be something as good as Colossal, then yeah, that should be a pretty good catalog to snatch right there.
Doesn't even matter if it's good or not, as long as you got name recognition, you got good stars in it, and it's exclusive. That's
They've
all
been
that matters.
acquiring
Good
stuff already at this point, so
yeah, when
it's
it
a good
comes to the
start.
streaming game, and Netflix is proof of this, it doesn't matter the quality, it matters the quantity. And so the more that they can have to incentivize you to buy their, I think they're $12 a month, $11 a month, like the one without commercials, I think
It's
is
like
12.
$11 a month or something.
That's the better. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's $11.99 for the super no commercials, because if I remember correctly, they have 4 tiers. They have free, they have freemium, then they have like $7 where you get extra content with commercials, like 10 where there's still commercials but not as many, and then there's one with no commercials, and that might be 15, which is like the craziest pay window. I don't quite get Hulu. That's why I don't have them. But given that it's pretty hard to track down neon films, you have to go, well, at least where I am in the country, you have to go to specialized theaters. This alone, because you got to remember with Hulu or any streaming option, especially if it's cord cutting, you don't have to have a contract. You can just go month by month. It's like, oh, this is going to add to the library? Let me just do it for this 1 month. And speaking of, right in the same category, my favorite film of 2016, the Istanbul cat documentary Kedi, is going to be coming to YouTube Red next month. I want to say it's like May 18th. You can double check the internet for that specific date. If you've never done a YouTube Red subscription, which I have, I did a trial, definitely sign up to just see this one alone. It is worth that. And if you have, like I did, and I kind of want to see this once more, I'd rather own it, but like the Blu-ray currently, because it's not on Amazon yet, is like $30, which is crazy. It's worth a month of service. It is that good. I saw it at a small local theater. It's one of the highest grossing foreign documentaries of all time. It's one of the highest grossing documentaries of all time that isn't made by Michael Moore.
Domestically?
Domestically.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
I
It's a
seriously
sleeper
have
hit. It's
barely
made
heard anything of
over
it.
it's made like almost $3 million, which is pretty crazy, especially for something not in English. Power to the cats. And like one of the things I read about this pickup, it was like it makes sense. YouTube was made primarily for cat videos, so why wouldn't they have the best cat documentary on their service? They're building the library too. I'm still excited about their Step Up TV show whenever that's landing. It's probably going to be in a couple of months. I hope it's right in time for summer.
You're just gonna wait to
I
use the
will.
subscription for that, or are you gonna rewatch Kedi for that?
I don't know. I really don't know. If they had more Red content, I would probably just be a member, because I was very vocal about it when I had the subscription towards the middle end of last year. You get a lot for that $10. You get Google Play Music, so that's all of their music streaming without commercials. You get YouTube without commercials. You also have access to stuff like watching YouTube videos, or like playing back YouTube videos with your phone screen locked. You can do minimized playback. You can do like radio commercials, and then not to mention the Red Library, which includes stuff like Rooster Teeth's Laser Team, Kedi now, some TV shows like Scary PewDiePie Season 1, not Season 2 because they got canceled because he's a anti-Semitic fuckbag. And he's supposedly jumping ship to Twitch now too, which totally makes sense.
Not to break that horn that you're tooting on, but I'm looking at Kedi on Box Office Mojo. It's not that big of a hit, as you say. As far as documentaries, it's the 85th highest grossing
Okay, well,
documentary.
look up foreign
Jiro Dreams of
foreign
Sushi is
documentaries.
one above that. Yeah,
Okay,
Citizen
well,
4 is above that. I keep scrolling
foreign
up. Grizzly
docs,
Man, Catfish. Yeah,
foreign docs
documentary.
is in the top 3.
Pina is above that. That's foreign.
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
It's the Wim Wenders ballet documentary that was shot in 3D. I mean, to be fair though, like most of the ones above this though, especially the highest grossing ones, they end up being something like Fahrenheit 9/11 or anything Michael Moore has done. But then there's an inconvenient truth that tends to be something agenda driven. But hey, March of the Penguins is the second highest grossing documentary.
That's not even a documentary, man.
Yeah,
like I remember seeing that in theaters.
It's just
like
the English version is
it's
edited
so
differently, though.
it's so
definitely
commercial.
upping the cube factor. The documentary
It's so
documentary is very different. I've seen that one, but
like that thing is straight up a YouTube video. Like you could watch like penguins
the Morgan
in
Freeman version,
in
yes.
Antarctica.
Yeah, the one with the French narration is different. But hey, you want to know what's the third highest grossing documentary? You're gonna lose your shit on this. Justin Bieber, Never Say Never.
No, I wouldn't lose my shit on that. That's
That's
probably
not
really
a
good.
documentary. Really?
It's a concert movie and a
John
documentary.
Chu,
It
but-
chronicles, John Chu. It's what he did in 3D right before Step Up 3. No,
No,
it's
after.
part.
After.
Was it after?
Yeah.
It's part. How did Justin Bieber become the person he is now? And then the second half, as far as I recall, is just concert footage. So that's what's in 3D, and then the rest isn't. Like,
It's funny,
and
2
it
years
makes
later,
sense.
Then John Chu made the apology documentary Justin Bieber Believe, and that tanked.
It's crazy because Justin Bieber is currently our only YouTube breakout success. And I would think that maybe it's just the industry was different back then, but I would think that Never Say Never would be a YouTube Red movie. Like they would die to have that, especially in
It
3D
could
since
be.
they're really pushing that content.
It's a Paramount movie, so who knows?
It's
But
possible. I
yeah,
don't know. I don't know. No one picked up Ketty though. It was a very small distribution.
yeah,
It was
that was
oscilloscope.
oscilloscope. Yeah,
Yeah, very small.
like they get
So
good
I'm
stuff,
happy.
but they're still very tiny on the map.
Yeah, I don't know how long this exclusive is, so take advantage of it. Like I said, for that money, for that dollar, you really, really do get a lot of content from Google. Even if you're just doing the subscription. I think what I did at the time was one it was 30 days for $1, which was too good to pass up on. But I think you can do 7 days for free, and then even if you had to pay for it because if you just compare it to what you get from Apple Music, Tidal, or Spotify, which is strictly the same price point, $9.99 a month, with only unlimited music, it's like, well, you get that, and then like I said, no commercial on YouTube on any platform, plus the Red exclusive content, which is Ketty, among other things. Um, Moving on, though, this was like kind of rumor mill a couple of weeks back. We were talking about Joss Whedon potentially filming the Batgirl movie for DC. It's 100% real now. Kevin Feige doing the media rounds for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 told everyone that Joss himself called him like a month or two before it was announced, telling him that he was going to do jump ship, and he gave him his blessing. So he told the media that. Right after that, Joss Whedon tweeted about it, saying something like he assumes it's going to be an unknown. He doesn't know who else is going to be in the role. Like, he can't picture anyone. So, yeah, he's writing directing this thing. It's got the blessing from Marvel. Very excited about this. Hopefully we get a date at Comic-Con. I would love to see them even, like, show off maybe some etchings of, like, what the costume would look like, maybe, or anything. And better than that, if they could potentially cast her by the time David Ayer is filming his Gotham City Sirens movie, and they put her in that as kind of like the little like jumpstart cameo, a la like Spider-Man and Civil War. I would love
Is
that.
there still a
Like, kind
release
of
date
just
for that one yet, or
no, that doesn't. There's no calendar date for that. It's just it's happening, and
yeah,
so slow things down. Maybe I mean Wonder Woman's still coming out. It's 2 months now. That's awesome. 3 months. 3 months.
month and a
Basically
half?
two. It's basically May now, so 2 months.
Actually, no,
So
no, the beginning of June
um,
comes out in June, so like 5 weeks.
a month. Oh man, I need to get a
Yeah,
ticket. They didn't even put
it's
those
coming
tickets on
soon.
sale. I wanted to get an IMAX. I want to do IMAX for that one. Yeah, I'm happy about this. Joss felt he felt really trapped at Marvel. They wanted him to do a certain kind of film. DC's proven already that they'll let a director
They're
do
far more
anything
auteur
they want.
friendly. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I don't think it'd be too bizarre. Well, I don't know. It depends which continuity of DC they're doing. Because I would love for him to do the Killing Joke from Barbara's point of view. I don't see that happening because in today's DC Comics, she is no longer in a wheelchair. She is not the Oracle. She has full mobility in her legs. But maybe they could do like a Survivor tale like that. It starts like right before the Killing Joke at the beginning of her crime fighting career. Then she gets crippled. Then she gets her legs back. Like maybe she gets crippled in the first act, and you threw out the rest of the Killing Joke because that just got adapted as an animated movie last year, and just like flash forward to now. Like do it in like the beginning is in the past in the same way that in the DCEU filmography thus far, Batman has been established for like 20 years. You could easily just put it there as kind of like building, fleshing out the world in the same way they did the Joker Harley Quinn stuff in Suicide Squad. Just like make it something that doesn't really matter. It's important to the character and like pay your dues to Alan Moore's story type of thing. But no one knows. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. No one knows. Especially who's going to be cast as her.
I mean, there's
It
still
would be
very
cool.
It's not even official word from Warner Brothers at this point. It's just
It's
weird
real.
the announcement
No,
how it works. Like no, it's I don't
It's
doubt
the
it.
head
It's
of
just
the
it's
Marvel
very
film
strange
group.
though how it's being announced. That's all
It's
I'm
pretty
saying.
weird.
It's not a
It's
Warner
gonna
Brothers making it official, so it's still like it's still technically unofficial, but it's official.
It's
you know?
official.
Like, so it's just
I
waiting for that official
guarantee
announcement at this
at
point.
Comic-Con they're gonna be real tongue-in-cheek. They're like, let's bring out some of the directors of our films, and then Joss Whedon's gonna be there. It's like, yeah, he's doing the Batgirl movie, and everyone's gonna laugh. Like it's gonna be a joke, and I'm fine with that because when you really do announce these things in a big way, which is something that we're gonna be talking about in a minute here, it's like it almost loses all of its steam. Talking about Steam, Warner's isn't just doing DC, if you aren't following along. They're also doing their Monsters verse, and something that is just too bizarre that I don't understand why it would even happen. They're making Kong Skull Island into a TV show called King Kong Skull Island. Um,
Mm.
where this would even be is weird enough. That may be the CW, but then it would be too big, maybe HBO. But then, like, by the time this hits TV, maybe the idea is that this will set up King Kong versus Godzilla. But even still, like,
I
I
know
don't know.
people are fans of like the production value of TV now, but is CGI that good on TV now?
I,
Is it?
I really don't know. Like, if it's HBO, it will be. They can do the budget, but I, in my opinion, they kind of ran the tank dry. Like, it's over. Like, you made the
Hmm.
one movie, move on. Why would they even want to turn this into a TV show now? And then even worse, they're basically doing the exact same thing. It's gonna like maybe it's like a retelling of the movie in a like in a serialized fashion, even though
Hmm.
this universe is already serialized. Because it like the synopsis thus far is a woman led group goes to Kong Skull Island and they have adventures with King Kong and then
That sounds
inhabitants
like a
basically.
CW show.
Yeah, I accept it. The
But
CW
not a
doesn't
good
have
one.
CG. Like,
Yeah,
well,
that's
actually,
well,
I'd take that
Flash.
back. Like,
Flash technically does
yeah,
actually.
Flash
Yeah,
has good CG, and what I'm really thinking about now is
it's
Gorilla
just.
Grodd,
I
which
mean, it's
is
like
a
even when you
monkey
say HBO
nemesis.
though.
He looks good. He looks good.
Well,
Gorilla
even when you
Grodd
say
looks really good.
HBO though, with like with the CGI production value, it's like I imagine with Game of Thrones, it's like to have what's essentially a CGI character in every episode. They don't even have that. They got the production value as far as the sets, which they
No, no,
maintain from
now
episode
I
to
mean I
episode. But I
know
mean, come
you're
on,
really far behind.
it's not
No,
like
you're far
every
behind.
episode though,
No, every
is it?
episode pretty much now you see a dragon, you see a White
Every
Walker,
time?
you see like every episode, yeah, like you see something, and if it isn't like a big CG spectacle like that, you get an all-out battle.
All right, but
Like
how long
they're
did it take for them to get to that, to the point where they would be willing to front the money for that because they know
like the
that
whole
it's
last
going to pay
season.
off?
It's
I'm
like
just
they
saying, like it's been almost 6 years since Game of Thrones debuted. Now, like they worked their way up to that. This is like a
yeah.
big jump. King Kong on TV.
Game of Thrones debuted at the beginning of everyone sucking TV's dick off. Like that was so far back now. I mean, it's post all of the other acclaimed HBO shows, but like Game of Thrones came out the same year as Walking Dead did, and it was
A
like right in
year
the middle
later.
of Breaking Bad. Was it a year later? But it was like
Yeah, Walking
right
Dead's
in the middle of Breaking
2010.
Bad.
Yeah,
Um,
where
like
people were
no, like
discovering Breaking Bad for the first time.
Game of Thrones is the pinnacle of TV today. Like it does all the things that Walking Dead does, except it's not full of itself and it's not super serious. It's on a premium cable subscriber that allows you to watch it without having a subscription, or at least not through your cable or satellite. And it's part of the Time Warner family. Like it's 100% like where everything is, and if they can do it, but I don't think it's CW. I think it's HBO. I think the better bet is TNT, because I would almost bet right now that TNT's probably already got the rights to Godzilla. I know someone does on cable. I think it's them. That would make sense. Time Warner owns TNT. TNT is part of the Warner Brothers family. Have a station that you can put on your MonsterVerse movies, put the MonsterVerse show on there, and then you could do like almost like an Agent of Shield type thing lead into the movie. But I don't know. I'm not really
Well, who
excited. I'm not gonna
watches
watch this.
TNT though? Like for
A fucking
TV?
lot of people, man.
Really?
A lot of people. They know drama. A lot of people. Bones just ended, and
Is it
Bones was
still their
like,
tagline?
yeah, Bones was a big hit.
Wow.
Like, and TNT is watched more for basketball coverage, to be honest. Like right now, with the playoffs going on, like that's what people watch, because they're the Eastern Conference Finals or the Western. I think East. Yeah, I want to say it's the East. I don't know. I haven't watched basketball in a couple seasons. Last little follow up news though, and this is so delayed. Not as delayed, but this casting news is so far removed from when we first talked about this, like literally like 3 months, that you probably don't even remember this news item. But Michael B. Jordan and Michael Shannon have joined Ramin Barani's HBO adaptation of Fahrenheit 451. It's going to be an HBO film. It's going to be straight for the network. I don't believe it's going to get a theatrical run. It might be in a film festival, just the way that festivals are going now. That's
So it's
huge.
a film, not a show.
Yeah, Michael B. Jordan's playing Guy Montag. Michael Shannon is going to be his chief at the fire department. I still haven't seen a Ramin Barani film. I want to see 99 Homes. I really want to see The Shopping Cart Man, or whatever it's called, his breakout role, or film rather. I haven't seen any of them, and hopefully
99
I
Homes
do
is good,
check it
man.
out.
It was on my top 10.
Yeah, hopefully
So,
it's on Amazon. Yeah, I added to my instant
yeah.
queue. Or that's not what they call it, their watch list. Amazon doesn't even
No
use
one
instant
calls it a
queue
queue
anymore.
anymore. Even Netflix calls it a
Yeah.
list. Yeah, which
Yeah, they
why?
call it the watch list. I don't
Yeah.
know. I
I mean,
like
you
that
can the
terminology.
queue's on the DVD account. At least last I had it, but yeah, I don't know why they got rid of it.
It was good branding, but I
For
guess
shame,
not good enough.
Netflix.
Yeah, I don't really have much interest in watching a TV or a movie adaptation of Fahrenheit 451. I've already seen one. I think it's one of those books that stands well off. The story is 100% about how evil the world would be in the future and ironic if firemen, their sole job was to burn books. So when you're reading a book about the end of books, it hits home. When you're watching a TV show or movie in theaters about that
Hmm.
kind of content, it doesn't really mean anything because if they burnt all the books and they just made movies from now on, no one would give a shit. Not really.
Well, it's kind of like one of
90%
those
of
things like
consumers
with The
wouldn't care.
Handmaiden too, where part of me did feel like, oh, because books are so central to this, I wonder if it just translates better in a book than the movie.
Not
Like
really. I
it's
don't
and it
see that
still
there.
works in the movie, but I was thinking of that. It's like, you know what? This is from an acclaimed book. I bet that this aspect of it really hits in a different way in the book.
I'm not sure. I have a feeling like that stuff was maybe even not in the Fingersmith, but I don't know. I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not necessarily looking forward to this adaptation. But at least it's got good casting. It's at a good film studio, and they got great talent involved. So hopefully it's good. And even if it is good, it can't be as good as the novel. So if you haven't read Ray Bradbury's masterpiece, you probably should. And don't do it on a digital format. Please go buy it. It's cheap. You can probably get a copy for like $5.
Yeah.
Worth having in your library.
There's a lot of them that
Um,
exist.
so here's some teasers for the rest of the show. We're going to be talking about Facebook's social VR app in our headlines. Also, the battle for Bond 25, which I already kind of teased. Netflix finally shared some of their numbers, and we're going to be going over those a little later. And then finally, also the next Nintendo system, which you might be wondering, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Nintendo just put out a system just like 2 months ago. But yeah, another one's in the works. So we'll be talking about that much later in the show. Here's something that I teased during, what was that? I think it was during The Handmaiden. No, it was. Yeah, it was. It was at the end when we were talking about you seeing Phantom Megaplex, and I was like,
Hmm.
oh yeah, remember that smart home movie
Yeah.
on Disney
Smart
Channel?
House.
Smart House. So James Wan is producing a film at Lionsgate called Smart House that Alexandra Aha is directing, and I might not be a big fan of his because hey, I saw one of his movies last year, and I did not like where it went. But that's a whole other thing. Hot
Come on,
Tension
dude.
is
Piranha
not this
3D.
film.
That's
That
like
wasn't
his.
bad.
That's his
I still have to
masterpiece, man.
see. I still have to see Three Double D. But yeah, this actually sounds really good. Like I kind of want to see this. Here's the premise. This is a setup. It's about a family that has to enter the witness protection program, and they are sent to a smart house, like state of line, autonomous domicile, like Hall from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
How?
It can HAL, whatever.
Yeah.
It can do anything. And so when the people that these people with his family are put in the witness protection from to escape them, these assassins find the house, and the house goes into basically tank mode and protects the family. It sounds good. I am like it kind of sounds like The Purge, except if the house itself was fighting.
It really is Smart House, except without the witness protection element.
Yeah. Except also in that Disney movie, the house was fucking with the people that lived inside. This is more like the house is fighting for them. But I'm sure there's probably going to be a twist where they hack it and then the house tries to kill them or something.
Yeah,
Who
something like that. I
knows?
mean, I don't know. What happens if you like you make AI the hero? That'd be interesting. I don't know. Like,
They've
how
done
does
it
that
before.
work?
There's a movie called Artificial Intelligence. It's not
That's
the first time,
different.
too. Tron, to an
Yeah,
extent.
but I don't know. Different though, because that's in a different world too. Like, I don't know. Bring it into our world in some sense. That's interesting.
Terminator 2.
Okay, yeah. Well, I don't know. Still,
Terminator 3.
eh.
Genesis. To an extent. I don't know. I'm probably not going to go see this one in theaters, but I will probably really like watching it in Halloween, whatever year it comes out.
Yeah.
Probably going to be next February is when it's released. We'll hear more, maybe not. I'm not sure. Piggybacking off of Universal's big news that we covered last week, even though it was 2 weeks removed because we didn't have a show 2 weeks ago, Universal is not satisfied with just the Invincible movie that Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg are doing. They announced this week that they're adapting another comic book. This one is by Mark Miller. It's called Chrononauts, and I've actually read the first issue way before this was announced. It's a funny, like, time travel buddy adventure, which makes sense for Universal because, hey, they did Bill and Ted, and they also did Back to the Future, so they do have a hand with, pop culture sensibility, time travel. I didn't stick with this comic series. Like I said, I only read one issue, but there is a good setup there. I think that is going to work well. I would love if they try to do like cross-universe stuff, and they did bring maybe Bill and Ted or Martin McFly into the film in some way, because we joked about it last week. We titled the episode, was it Fast and Jurassic? What the fuck was it?
Yeah, some along
Fast
those
and
lines.
Jurassic Monsters.
Yeah.
There you go. They're not dying for a crossover event, and they're already building one universe currently. But seriously, time travel is probably they're the best in the industry at it, or at least they've just lucked out in that way.
Yeah, they just happen to have the best. Well, I mean, they have the pinnacle title of time travel under their belt.
And so if they're doing another one, and I'm going to count Bill and Ted also. If they're doing another time travel movie. I think it is, but there's something weird going on there because when they still it exists in Orlando still, but for their Halloween Horror Nights, they used to have a Bill and Ted show, like a live show. So they must have some kind of rights to the characters, or maybe they own it now. I don't know, but still, at least Back to the Future. People would hate a Back to the Future remake, but if you just have a joke. Like, if Universal made another time travel movie and there's a DeLorean in it, it would kill. Theaters would love that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll pick up the series again, finish the first volume, see if it's worth a read. I'll report back next week, if I can do it this next week. Here's where the news gets really, really good, though, until the headlines pop up. I don't know if you follow James Gunn on Twitter or Facebook, but he's very vocal. He is a great follow, especially on Twitter. He does lots of Q&As. Or not necessarily Q&As, but he answers a lot of questions that we ask him. And so this week, instead of doing a press release, instead of announcing it during an interview for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, instead he just went straight to Facebook. He wrote this very lengthy thing that begins with, okay, I'm just going to say it, I'm doing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. They didn't make any big deal about it. There was no press release. This is literally just a Facebook post, which was really, really cool. So he spilled all the beans. And basically what he said in it is that in the way that the first Iron Man film kind of set up, or not necessarily, but Iron Man 2 set up the next 10 years of Marvel films all the way up until Avengers Infinity War, that Guardians Volume 3 is going to set up the next 10. It's going to set the tone. Things are going to happen. It's probably going to be the final adventure for the Guardians, at least in the way that they are currently. And so what I'm anticipating is if some of them don't die in Infinity War Part 1, or whatever they decided to name Avengers 3 and 4, in the same way that I'm hoping Tony Stark does, or Captain America, or someone needs to fucking die. If the Guardians don't die, that at least...
If Captain America dies, that's probably going to be the most devastating one, to be honest.
Captain America died in the comics. They brought him back, but he died not too long ago.
Yeah, but that's also
then
that's like the death of the American dream in some way, of old-fashioned values just being completely gone. Like, that thematically would be very harsh.
Those actors only signed so many years, and adding Spider-Man and adding other films can extend that. But you only want to keep an actor as long as they want to be kept. The old studio system is proof of that. That's when people start doing drugs and doing bad things, and all kinds of scandals can happen. So it's the only out. You can't do the Fast and Furious 7 thing. You cannot let a character drive off down a hill and go, oh, they're done now. Like, no. Kill a fucking character. They should have killed Paul Walker.
That one happened. That was completely...
No, I don't know.
No,
they should have killed... The whole movie, I was expecting him to die.
No, you know exactly why they did that. Because that's where everyone's in on what the ending is about. That's why it ends that way. Like, there's no way that they would have killed this character when a guy died in real life. There's no way you can do that. No.
Fuck yeah.
Absolutely not. That would have pissed off so many people.
Imagine this. Imagine the original Furious 7 script had Brian Spooner. What if they originally had him die? and then they changed it because he actually died.
You know what? I don't know.
I would love
I
to
don't know
see
what
that
happened
movie.
on the script. I don't know what the script was, so I
I
can't
don't
comment
either,
on it.
but they should have. It's such a
Well,
just
hey, I mean,
the
his death in real life changed the entirety of that script because half of his scenes weren't even shot. So, who knows what it was originally going
like
to be?
I know Fast Eight just crossed or is about to cross a
A
billion
billion?
dollars worldwide. It made nothing in America. Like it hasn't crossed 200 million.
It'll get there, but it's not
No,
there
it will
yet.
get there. I think the reason no one stateside is interested is because the story felt like it was over at the last one. They ended
Yeah,
it
no,
that
I mean,
way.
it
The
was a
idea,
finale for a lot of people. For the people, I
yeah.
mean, like China did not get the other entries that we got. People didn't grow with these characters. It was a finale of all
Not to
sorts.
mention they
Like,
don't care about the actors; they care about the stunts.
yeah,
Well,
I
for the
mean,
most
so
part.
they're watching it for different reasons.
Not Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel, fucking Triple X State of the Union, not State of the Union, the Triple X Return of Xander
Whatever it
Cage.
was, yeah.
That was a huge hit in China. Huge. I still need to see that. I'm sad I didn't see it in theaters. I should have. When I saw The Founder, I had a chance. I should have taken it. But yeah, that was a huge hit. Guardians is going to be a huge hit in China. So maybe they do love Vin Diesel there. More than they love him here. I'm curious if his Chinese success would allow him and David Choi to make another Riddick movie. That would be interesting.
Yeah,
I'd buy that for a
totally.
dollar.
Actually, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean,
I'd pay to
as
see
far
that.
as I'm concerned, there's probably nothing in that last Riddick movie that they would take out, like as far as Chinese censors either. So I
Yeah,
want to say that would play. Yeah, absolutely.
it would play really well. If you're listening to it, you went to Long Beach State too. You you should make that. You should make that movie. Bigger Marvel news, at least in my opinion, because it is notable, at least right now at the time of reporting, that this is going to be the first time that a director has done more than two movies at Marvel. Joss Whedon did two Avengers movies. You got Jon Favreau who did two Iron Man movies, but that's it. I mean, we also got Todd. No, Peyton Reed is doing the second Ant Man, but
Hmm.
that's also like he didn't officially 100% do the first Ant Man 2. But even still, like two is the magic number for them. Two is going to continue to be that magic number, though. They got two directors for Captain Marvel. They finally announced that team, and it's people that we've actually done episodes for. It is
Really?
the directing duo of Mississippi Grind, Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, the
Whoa.
married couple. This is
Really?
really weird. Yeah, really, really weird for a Marvel movie. They're
Huh.
known for Half Nelson, Sugar,
Yeah.
music videos, and
Um,
TV. They've done a lot of shit. I don't exactly see that working, but Marvel has a good track record.
yeah,
Look at
I'm not against that. Like it's
it's
really
interesting.
well. This is typically the thing where people like in the indie scene get plucked out because they're inexpensive and yet they're brought onto these massive
Yeah, look
tentpoles.
look at
And
the Russo brothers
yeah, I mean, well, then again, though, that
or James Gunn.
I think anyone that saw the paintball episodes of Community season 2, they knew that the Russo brothers could handle action. But I mean, yeah, like even James Gunn seems suited in a different way too. But like, or it's I don't know. It's always interesting, but yeah, I think they should be able to do fine. I don't know if it'll be necessarily known for like its thrilling action scenes, at least right off the beat. But yeah, I mean, they write characters really, really fucking well. So that's a good start for that.
Well, what's Marvel has one thing going for him right here, and it's the fact that this is a Captain Marvel movie,
Hmm.
and wide the Marvel film going majority has no clue who the fuck Captain Marvel is. So much in the same way that Doctor Strange or Guardians of the Galaxy or even to a certain extent Captain America, that filmgoers were willing to suspend a certain amount of disbelief because they have no association with these characters. Bowden and Fleck have a very, very good chance of making a great film, not just because they are good filmmakers, but also because there is no Batman versus Superman factor. There is no built-in audience of
Hmm.
expectations. There's no fanboys to let down.
It's
Like
just
the
got the Marvel
people,
brand on there, and people see it
exactly.
anyway.
It's got the DC Marvel branding on it. So, I mean, Disney Marvel, not DC. Um, so, like, Captain Marvel, as far as I'm aware, is strictly I'm a jet pilot. I fused with an alien. Now I got some powers and I can fly. Like it's essentially Green Lantern. It's the Green
Hmm.
Lantern of Marvel, and I guess that's cool. But then also you got to remember this movie's not coming out to like 2019, 2020. So
Yeah.
it's quite some time off. we'll probably get some Captain Marvel appearance in either Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which does have like 4 post-credit sequences, or Avengers Infinity
Really?
War. Yeah, it's supposed to have a whole bunch of post-credit shit.
Mm.
So we'll probably see Brie Larson on screen very, very soon in one of the cosmic stories. And it'll be curious if the team gets to direct that sequence in the way that, generally speaking, the actual director of the film directs those post-credit sequences for whatever film it's attached to. So that's something to keep track of. Hopefully they don't ditch the project, because that happens a lot on the Tights and Flights movies. And here's the final teaser before we get to the numbers. From Dumbo to Aladdin, Will Smith has not got enough money from DC Comics. He has decided that he wants to be the genie in Guy Ritchie's live action remake. I actually like this
Wait,
a
I'm
lot.
sorry. I totally. Did we say that he was in Dumbo? I totally forgot
No,
that.
he wanted to be in Dumbo, and that disappeared. That died, which I'm very happy, because I can't imagine Will Smith
Yeah,
working with Tim Burton.
maybe as
Um,
the circus conductor, but
I don't
that's no.
who the fuck knows. I just can't see it. But yeah, now the new rumor is, and this has to be true, he wants to be the genie. And if there's anyone out there that can,
Uh,
I can't imagine anyone else doing it after Robin Williams, to be honest. Someone with
I
that much star power and charisma.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I
I
want to
can see
see.
Will Smith doing his thing in that and just doing it his way, but it sounds kind of annoying to be honest.
I can see Will Smith basically being the Fresh Prince,
Yeah, it
like
sounds kind
that,
of
like
annoying
Fresh,
for that reason.
like meets Mike Lowry, like that kind of thing. Or better yet, doing Hitch.
Again,
Like,
sounds kind of annoying.
the genie is a fucking annoying character, 100%. Hey, you just rubbed my lamp. I'm out of here.
I
Hey,
don't know,
look, this
but
cave is
for a
falling in. What
live
do you want to
action
do? Do you
version,
want
it's
to
not like the
sing and
Robin
dance with
Williams
me?
version is actually his face. You know, that's an animated character. They draw that. They give it a
It looks
different
a
kind of
lot like him.
personality. I don't know, man. Like the idea, these live action remakes, man.
I'm
It's like
okay
I
with
can.
this.
I don't know. I don't know. It seems like the idea of Beauty and the Beast in live action. I don't know, it seems like weird when it's live action, but in animation, you know, I can buy into it without thinking, oh, that's bestiality that they're buying into there. Then again, I have not seen the remake, but I mean, yeah, even other people have said, yeah, it's kind of weird watching that. So, shit, man, I don't know. I don't. I'm pretty sure I'm done watching these, man. To be honest, like
I'm
Jungle
not
Book
going to
really
rush
turned
out
me
for
off.
this. I got very little interest in Guy Ritchie's career anymore, and more on that later.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not going to see
Like,
King Arthur.
after the second Sherlock Holmes movie, his career is just not interesting anymore. He took a fucking nosedive. He doesn't write his own stuff. It's not even British anymore. Like, what? Oh, I'm sorry. He has the first King Arthur movie coming out this summer. Who's gonna see that?
No
It
one's
looks
marketing it. No, people have
no.
been asking me. It's like, have you
I've
heard
seen
anything on this?
trailers.
When the fuck is it coming out? I've not seen
I've
anything.
seen trailers. Jude Law looks really good as the villain, but I. It's like we got a King Arthur movie in the early 2000s. It wasn't good.
The Anton Fuqua one, yeah.
Yeah, this one doesn't look good. Like the trailer looks all right. Like it sells it pretty good. I've seen a couple people on Facebook that are excited about it, but I think more so just because Charlie Hunnam looks good with a T-shirt off. But
You know, it might do well internationally, and that might break even that way and make some money here. But yeah, it's probably not going to be that big.
no, like I don't see Guy Ritchie as that director anymore. He had a very hot start. He made fast-talking heist films. They were really good. And then once he got the studio money and started being lazy, like basically after he married Madonna, that's when his career just went okay.
That and
Like he did Swept
also,
Away. He did the two
yeah.
Sherlock Holmes movies. Like,
I mean, I like rock and rolla, but at the same time, I think I'm one of those people that might be like, you know what? I think Matthew Vaughn was the guy to pay attention to there before
it's the worst
that
thing about
partnership
Rock and
broke
Rolla
up.
too is they marketed that as one piece of a franchise. There was gonna be like three of
Yeah,
them.
they end it on a note where it's like,
Come back
you
for
know,
the
there will be
next
another
Rock and
one.
Rolla.
Yeah,
Yeah,
something like
it
that.
does the
And
machete in space thing. Like it's straight up. Like it does it, and
well,
that's
at least
never gonna
Machete
happen.
delivered on Machete Kills.
No, but I'm still saying like Machete Kills in Space is the real one that I want. I
Yeah,
always wanted that,
I
even
don't
from
think
the
I'm gonna
first
get that
Machete.
now, but I got a
I,
little bit of it. But
I got hopes and
yeah, at
dreams.
least I got a tiny bit of it.
I mean, the good news is that it doesn't have to be Mel Gibson. You can just get anyone in the mask that he's wearing, the Darth Vader mask. You don't need actual Mel Gibson, because now he wouldn't do it. Now he has too much money. Now people like him again. But here's some dates to whet your palate, and this is going to set the tone for the rest of the show. Fox put out a lot of numbers. They made you mark your calendar this week. And truly, truly, the first of which is a total just curveball. Deadpool 2 is not going to be in February again. Fox is not going to continue their trend of hard R comic book movies that they began 2 years ago, Deadpool, or rather, a year ago, Deadpool, and then continued this year with Logan. Instead, they're pushing into a summer movie. It's coming June 1st, 2018, so it's pretty much exactly a year away.
It's getting
I don't like
initial
this.
Kingsman 2 treatment.
I don't like
I
this at
say
all.
initial because that's what they did with Kingsman 2 at first.
I don't even remember.
Kingsman, Kingsman had a February Valentine's Day release date, and then it got pushed because
No, I don't see that. That's different. It's like Kingsman was a fluke. They had they had very low expectations for that film, largely the cast of unknowns, and it was a huge success. And so now, yeah, especially with like
perfect counter programming too to 50 Shades of Grey at the time.
The people they have in it now, with like Channing Tatum, it makes sense to be a summer movie, especially because it's set in the United States, at least primarily, or at least in some part. So it makes more sense to be a blockbuster in the summer. And I guess Deadpool does too, except they really killed it with that Valentine's Day marketing. Like, I think more people watch it for the marketing than the actual movie.
You can't
because
strike
now,
lightning twice in the same exact spot, so...
Maybe, but Fox did, like in 3 consecutive years. Kingsman, Deadpool, Logan. So...
Well, Logan was a month later after that. So, I mean,
it's in the beginning.
Deadpool and Kingsman were Valentine's Day weekend. They were the same spot.
It's first quarter, okay? It's still in a quadrant of the calendar that, generally speaking, big movies don't come out. It's smaller things. It's romances. It's shit films. It's genre flicks, you know? And for them to kind of abandon it like this, I don't know. But at least we got a date. Makes sense. We already got most of the cast. We know who the director is. We've already seen footage from the thing. They got to push it out. But here's the next slate. In the same year, this is the real crazy thing. So Deadpool 2 is going to be June. They got 2 other X-Men movies next year. In April, they got New Mutants. It's coming out the 13th, which is pretty much a continuation of Logan. And then
Hold up. Mm-hmm. Who's directing that?
I'm not sure. I think
That's
I
less
want to
than a
say
year.
I want to say it's what's his name?
That's less than a year. Do they even have that planned?
I don't know. They definitely don't have this planned. This is the even crazier movie. Next November 2nd to be precise, 2018, is Dark Phoenix, which is going to be the sequel to X-Men Apocalypse.
Okay,
So they got 3 things going on at the same time in the X-Men universe. They got a sequel to Deadpool, which is okay. That's their meta movie. They have a sequel to Logan, and they have a sequel to Apocalypse. And they're all supposed to be the same universe, which is really weird. So maybe it's by...
I think I give up at this point.
Maybe it's a good thing that Deadpool takes place between those 2 movies, because then he can joke about the 2 other movies in the same year. But we already know we're going to have the Thanos jokes, because the Josh Brolin casting.
I'm sorry, I'm just taking issue with, are these being planned at all, or are they just going to shove these out as fast as they can? That's where
Fox broke headlines this week. Those aren't the only things they dated. They did date one thing that I'm actually excited about. This year, we're getting Spielberg's Pentagon Papers movie with Meryl Streep. That's going to be, it's doing the American Sniper thing. It's going to get the limited release right on Christmas, and then it's going to go wide in January, just so it can be up for the Oscars.
I thought he was shooting Ready Player One.
I thought so, too.
He does 2 movies
he's doing
a year,
the Spielberg thing.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, so this one is coming out this year. Ready Player One comes out in March.
I guess there's plenty of time.
I guess he's shooting them both at the same time. I would assume that this one has to be... Maybe he's going to finish Ready Player One's principal photography, and then he's going to need a month or 2 to shoot the other one, which makes sense because it's just a character piece.
Then there's effects work to work on Ready Player One.
Yeah, for a long time. Yeah. And just production, design, and fucking marketing, the VR tie-ins with HTC, potentially video games. Who knows what else they're going to do with that. It's going to... I guarantee... this time next year, well, it's already going to be out this time next year, but come I think we're going to get a trailer in July. This is Fox, so maybe it's going to be attached to Kingsman. No, wait, Ready Player One is Warner Brothers, so definitely Justice League, probably Wonder Woman. I'm gonna go with Wonder
Like a
Woman,
teaser on Wonder Woman, probably. Yeah,
but a real trailer for Justice League.
definitely Comic-Con.
Oh, for sure, Comic Con.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling they're gonna push this movie really hard, and it's gonna have a trailer that everyone loves, just because of all the kinds of references that are out, fucking spat throughout it. Gonna be a hit. But here's the real news item from Fox. Screw the Marvel stuff. Forget Spielberg. Avatar has dates now. Who knows if they're real or not? Avatar 2 is December 18th, 2020. Avatar 3 is December 17th, 2021. Then they take a sabbatical. Avatar 4 is coming December of 2024. And then Avatar 5 is going to be the next year.
Years?
They're going to have 4 movies in 5 years. Avatar 2 and 3 in Christmas 2020 and 2021. And then Avatar 4 and 5 in Christmas of 2024
When are
and
they going to
2025.
start shooting this crap?
They're starting this year. Sigourney Weaver said a couple of weeks back that she already has the scripts. They're awesome. They've got to be filming them. If it's 2020, you got to remember that even if they do shoot this natively in 3D, that takes a lot more time for everything involved, for just the CG work and the promotional campaign. We're 3 years away now. I think the best thing about this is by the time that first movie comes out, Episode 9 will be released. So unless... And
there might be fatigue at that point.
Hopefully there is, but Star Wars by that point, unless DC or Disney, and they 100% will announce the next trilogy or something of that nature, it's not going to have direct competition with a known blockbuster as of yet, unless it's like the Justice League.
Another thing also is,
something.
I mean, it's been a big deal with China of Avatar being big there, and that's where
It's big everywhere.
It doesn't seem like it was. People question on whether it's still relevant as a cultural phenomenon here because no one really.
Everyone's
going to
go
more
see
people
it.
Talk about
of course,
how
they
it's
don't talk
overrated.
about
Yeah,
it.
they will. No, they will see it, but
they're going to see it.
I mean, yeah, in China it's a much bigger deal, and Star Wars they're not so much. So yeah,
it's James Cameron.
Probably going to be fucking big.
Even if this wasn't an Avatar sequel, it's James Cameron. There's something that he knows that no one else in Hollywood does because people always see his movies. He's never had a flop. Even his IMAX films, people go see, which is crazy to think about. Like, if those were released today where there's IMAX everywhere, they would be blockbusters. He has never had a miss. I think it's true. He's never had a miss. He's had huge successes that when he finally makes a sequel outside of Terminator 2... This one, I don't know if all of them are going to do well, especially not in America, but this first one, Avatar 2, if it does hit this date, if Fox doesn't push it again, and by this point, I don't think they can, because it's going to be close to 10 years at the time of the sequel's release.
Then it should be good. Unless they
should
already shot it and then they spend more time in post, then that's when...
Yeah.
That'd be the only conceivable reason where we know he'd get it, and they'd just be... I mean, if they had shot it at that point...
I think they have to shoot them this year. And just based off the calendar, the way I would assume it's going to work is they're going to shoot 2 and 3 back-to-back.
You realize 10 years ago they were probably shooting the first
movie definitely 10 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're probably going to shoot 2 and 3 back-to-back and then do those in post together, and then a little break for everyone involved, shoot 4 and 5 back-to-back, do the same thing. Just like The Matrix, just like The Lord of the Rings, just get them out the way. And that way, it explains a 3-year gap in between the middle of the films. I think the world's going to go crazy for this shit again. Unless we have a new breakout hit. Because I think by this point, we're going to all have just intellectual property like fatigue. We're going to have superhero fatigue. We're going to have blockbuster fatigue. That Justice League and Avengers and Deadpool is not going to do it for us anymore. That Transformers are going to be dead by then.
Stopped at this point, to be honest.
But Transformers is probably going to be dead by then.
Hopefully.
Like, things are going to be a lot different in 3 years. Like, just in terms of VR. Like, how big of a promotional push Avatar is going to have in virtual reality. Like, that's something to really think about. Because James Cameron has been pretty vocal about not liking VR currently. But he said that last year at the Nation C of the technology. In 3 years' time, when he's promoting his next movie... He's probably going to be like, oh, I love virtual reality. It's finally caught up to what I imagined it to be when I fucking wrote Strange Days. That's a cinema episode. Go check it out. Like, there's no way. Like, Ready Player One, we already know. That's next year is getting a big promotional push in VR. The biggest movie sequel of all time is definitely going to be the biggest VR push probably in
Well,
the
I
next
mean,
10
it's just gonna
years.
have a big tech push. Like, in
Period.
some sense, there's gonna have to be something.
I'm
There's
expecting
got to be something revolutionary that he's
like
up to
this
at
is
that
going to
point.
be IMAX laser with Dolby Atmos in the D-box seats with
Hmm.
the fucking super ticket where you buy it for $20 more than the actual price and you get a digital copy the next day type of shit. Like it's going to be at that point in the industry where anything possible is going to be thrown at Avatar, or at least like Fox is going to try it because there's really it's too
Hmm.
big to fail. Like there's no room for failure. It can't fail. Like probably if this one doesn't make 700 million, it's a disaster because the production cost alone is probably half that. But I no one knows. James Cameron doesn't even know. Like
They don't even know how much the first one cost. They just know it's a lot.
it's a lot, which makes sense. I mean, the good thing about that too is most of the work they did on that they just put on a hard drive and they're just going to reuse it on these. It's not like it was wasted CGI department shit. Like all of Pandora, that took a lot to animate. They're going to use it again. Like Weta's going
Hmm.
to do great shit. Wait, no, it wasn't Weta. It was Lightstorm. Doesn't Lightstorm have their
No,
own
Weta did
in-house?
the
It
effects.
was Weta.
Lightstorm's a production house.
I thought Lightstorm had their own CG department though.
They might, but I doubt it's at the level
Yeah,
that Weta is
it's at
at.
that level.
Yeah, they did the work at Weta.
Okay, so it's been an hour of the show. This is our little ad break. You can pause it if you like. We'll be back in a second. I'm gonna drink some water, and Steven's gonna try to pitch you.
You know, it'd be really nice if I knew what these things were
Wait, I
beforehand,
don't
so I
know.
can plan them out.
Uh, uh what'd you eat for dinner?
Shiner Buck, you know, I'm enjoying a nice Shiner Buck right now. If you can't tell, but yeah, it's nice. It's refreshing. It's brewed in Shiner, Texas. Hey, if you live there, I'd buy that for $1. I buy it almost every weekend.
I think anyone would buy a beer for $1. That's like the tipping point. It doesn't matter how bad it is. Like you know how many bars
Well,
I've
if you
been
go to
to
a
with
bar, you're
$1.
spending like $5. But
Nope. I was gonna say I've been to bars that have PBR on tap for $1.
fuck
Totally
PBR,
worth the
man.
money.
PBR, well,
No,
that's
no, no.
water. You're
I
paying for water.
It's $1. It's a
Uh huh.
dollar. I'm talking about an actual dollar. I'm not talking about a tall can for
Yeah,
five.
yeah, I know that at PBR happy hours are a thing. You can go get a dollar PBR pitcher between like 4 and like 5
That's
at some
that's good
places.
money.
It's pretty
If
awesome.
I'm
Yeah,
if I'm going to a party
but
and
no,
it's
this
not
is
something
beer.
fancy, like if it's not like a soiree, if we're not talking like important things, if it's not like a 25th birthday with like 5 people there, I'm probably gonna bring PBR. I'll bring 18 case, maybe Coors, but most likely PBR. I don't like the way it tastes, but if you drink two of them, you can't taste what the beer tastes like anyway. So what's the point? It's one
It's
of
beer
those.
pong beer. I mean, yeah, but
It's better than
it's
beer pong
still
beer. It's like slightly above that. Like
no. I think it's
Natty
like three
Ice.
steps lower than that.
No, like
Honestly, it's high school beer pong beer.
Coors Light, Natty Ice, fucking Bush. That's beer. Like Bush is a lot worse than PBR. Like PBR is bad when you haven't had a lot of beer. I've had tons of beer from different countries even that's worse than PBR. Because you got to remember, the reason it's called Pabst Blue Ribbon is it won a Blue Ribbon once upon a time, and that was at the Chicago's Fair of 1895. It was the best beer at the World's Fair. That's important to note. Not bad. It's just not good. And also, it's owned by Russia now, so that's a completely different story. They also own King Cobra. It was like the
Donald
whole.
Trump.
No. Like there was the not the refinery, but the refinery that made. That's not right. Not distillery either. Whatever. The company that made Pabst made a lot of different things, and they sold
Hmm.
off to Russia like 3 years ago, which kind of sucks because it was like that only in America type thing. It's like fucking Dennis Hopper made PBR famous in Blue Velvet. You got that line where Kyle McCollin is like, he's like, well, what do you drink? He's like, Heineken. He's like, fuck Heineken. Fuck that shit. Pabst Blue Ribbon. And it's like, ever since then, I was like, I don't know what that is, but I want to try it. And then I tried it and I didn't like it. But now, you know, it's that
A lot of
hipster.
hipsters like it too.
It's that
Probably for that
hipster,
reason.
like, ironic, I like this beer because it's American, and then also I pretend like it doesn't taste like
David
shit.
Lynch happened to make a movie of that. I love that. Happens to
Yeah.
mention it. Yeah,
It's like,
something
but
like that.
seriously, if I go to a bar and I've already been drinking, I've had like a whiskey sour, like a good beer, like I already got a buzz going. No, that's when I start ordering the shit beer because you're seriously not drinking it anymore. You're not tasting it. You're just drinking it. You're just trying to keep your buzz going. PBR is perfect for that, especially if it's $1. So, you know. Never
Well,
had
you
it.
know what? I'm not
Try it.
promoting PBR. I'm promoting Shiner, and Shiner, I'm a fan. Had like two of these tonight. They're good.
I would like to have a PBR T-shirt. I wouldn't pay like a lot of money for it. I wouldn't
I'm
pay
sure
more
you
than
can
five
find one at
dollars.
Walmart for like $4,
See, I'm not. I don't.
or Target.
I've bought shirts from the big box stores. Usually, the tee
I'm
itself
not a
is
fan of
not the
those
best
either, but
comfort
yeah.
level, and then even worse than that, the graphic design doesn't stay. It's usually that like thick.
I say.
Yeah, it fades, and I mean, like for PBR, I guess that works. But I would rather have like an embroidered design than like a stamped on one. I want something that I'm going to be able to like keep for years and years and years. So like when I have
Mm.
kids and they're drinking PBR, they're like, hey, can I have your shirt? It's like, no, fuck off, buy your own. Like that would be cool. So you've listened to our voices long enough. We're going to keep doing the show, but in between, since we got this little sabbatical, you might be interested in our other content. We've kind of pimped out a little things, but here's what they are. We have Dollar Reviews, which is our spoiler-free show that we do on a weekly basis where we don't do recaps, we don't talk specifics, we just give you an overview of the film without giving too much information. So it used to be only theatrical releases, but since the time changes, so do we. And now it includes just about anything. If it's not in theaters, it's on streaming. So from the last couple of weeks, we did The Handmaiden, which is on Amazon last week. The week before that, we did Sandy Wexler, which is on Netflix. Some of the theatrical releases we've done recently, Power Rangers, we did La La Land, Green Room, Swiss Army Man. Almost all of those besides Power Rangers are already on streaming. Camera Person is something else we did. That's on Amazon. And then next week, I might still see Colossal. I'm not sure yet. So if I don't, it's just going to be Mike Mills' 20th Century Women. If I do, it's going to be a double
If
feature.
I get to it, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm not sure.
Yeah. There's a lot of things going on this week for me too, so it's a lot to juggle around.
We
The
watched.
Colossal's worth seeing though.
No, yeah, I want to see it. I gotta find the time / person
Yeah.
to see it with. We also do
Life is chaotic.
a lot of blockbuster / superhero type shit. So we did Logan, we did Deadpool, Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad, Doctor Strange. A lot of things that we've been talking about here or there. I'm seeing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and also Volume 1, I might add, in 3D next week. So maybe we'll do an episode on that. And then our other show is Debt to Cinema, which is our semi-topical list of shame thing. This week we just recorded an episode of The Conversation by Francis Ford Coppola. That'll be out on Wednesday, or whenever you're listening. It's out there now. We had Biodome the week before that, or this past week for Earth Day and also 420. We did some other things because of Easter, Jesus Christ Superstar. The year before that, we did Passion of the Christ. We tried to keep it topical, as I said. We did some remakes not too distant past. We did All the President's Men, right in time of Trump's inauguration. Time Crimes, which is the film that Nacho Villagalondo did before Colossal. That one's really awesome. It's not Netflix anymore, but it probably will be eventually. And if it is, check it out. I think you can see it on Amazon as part of one of their channel subscriptions.
Yeah, but hopefully it's not dubbed. That's the key thing.
That would suck. What we have next week because of Guardians is Howard the Duck, so that's going to be interesting. It's supposed to be the worst Marvel movie ever made. I'm not sure. Iron Man 2 is still pretty shitty. And then we also have The Tribe, which is a really awesome movie that you've definitely never heard of. That's on Netflix, and that's going to be out in a couple of weeks. You can watch it. I would highly recommend watching that one before we do our episode, because we will 100% ruin it for you, and then there's going to be like no point in watching it because you're going to be like, oh, I already know what happens.
No, seriously, like there's, I know like people like to just listen to stuff and be like, oh, hey, I'm entertained by this episode. I like hearing them talk.
Yeah, no, watch that
May
one.
as well hear them spoil it. No, it is something. Like that movie is an experience that if you have any passing interest in film at all, you should give that a chance. Seriously.
Yeah, it's part of a long line of other films like that we've done. We did Victoria, which is a film that's done in a single take. That's on Netflix. We did Hitchcock's Rope, also part of Debts to Cinema, and that was like the beginning of that kind of thing in film, kind of what Birdman did a couple years ago. We also did High Noon, which is one of the few examples of story time equaling screen time, and it also uses clocks throughout, so it feels like it's actually happening as you watch it.
But this is completely different as far as
it's completely
just the
different
world that it throws you into. It's not.
Yeah,
based
I'm
on,
just
like,
saying
continuous time.
we like watching those kind of movies, and those episodes there's no issue. But yeah, this one it really does stand on its own. It really is its own slice of cinema, and you should totally watch it. Like I said, it's on Netflix. It's called The Tribe. It came out in 2004, and spoiler here, there's no dialogue. Moving on with the show, though, here's some VR news. I teased this Facebook one at the top of the show, so now I'll share it. Facebook didn't unleash its new VR headset at F8 this week. They joke that a different F8 stole their thunder, and that's kind of true. Instead, they showed something a lot better. They have a new 24 sensor 3D 360 8K camera that uses computer vision, so you can film something and then actually walk around that recording, which is something that is currently not possible outside of video games. In fully digital worlds, it makes sense. Even if you watch it on a flat screen, it was created in 3D. That's why it's not a 2D image. However, live action is close to impossible. Somehow with this camera, and people already had eyes-on footage with the thing at the conference, said it's like the new pinnacle of what VR filmmaking is going to be. There's no price point on this, and more, even stranger than that, Facebook is not actually manufacturing it. It's going to be made by partners. It's going to, because it's 8K, it's going to down sample really easily to all different platforms and resolutions. And ideally, they're hoping that this is agnostic. And so you'll be able to watch this stuff on Oculus, HTC, PSVR, Cardboard, Apple's VR device, which I'm sure they're going to show off in a couple of months. Everything. That it's going to just work flawlessly. But we don't know when this is going to happen. Last year, they showed off a similar thing and then never came to see the light of day. Interesting enough, like I said, this one's 24 sensors. They have like a mini version also that I believe has 8. And that doesn't do the same things. This is more like the mobile version. The 24 sensor, I would assume, just because the specs on this thing, is like a $10,000, $15,000 camera. The mobile one is probably in the consumer price point, like $250, $300. But no one knows. You know, they just showed them off to the public. The real thing, though, the real teaser, like I said, is Facebook's VR social app. They showed this off at Oculus Connect 3 a couple of months back. It's called Spaces, and it's available already as an open beta, currently only for Oculus users. That might seem weird, especially since Facebook owns Oculus, and I had a big thing to talk about that last week. However, just like this camera that I'm talking about, they are hoping that Spaces will be available on every platform. Here's some extra details about it. It is also agnostic, as I said. It currently allows 4 people to interact in real time in a shared space, and you can do just about anything that you would think you can do. You can just hang out and talk. You can bring up a YouTube video and watch it there. Someone can call you using like Facebook Messenger and join your VR lounge. You can doodle. You can draw. You can do homework together. It basically is Werewolves Within, with matching lit flap.
With your friends.
Exactly. There is no game there. You can play games, but it's just a hangout, which is what I love about Werewolves Within, and I'm not a fan of the game necessarily. And so when this comes to PlayStation VR, I will totally do it. They don't have a date on that. Like I said, it's in beta right now. It's not ready for the public. But if you do have an Oculus Rift, I'm sure you already have this. If you don't, please do. Let us know what you think about it. I would love to know. Some other things they showed off at F8. They're working on some kind of computer that is attached to your brain so you can reply to text without using your fingers, where they want to like get a, like 100 words per second, which is crazy because who actually types that much? Whatever. Even better than that, though, they didn't just show off VR. They also did AR. And so they're hoping that Facebook users, especially on mobile, can create a better world for everyone through augmented reality. The concept here is most people have a smartphone. Almost every smartphone today has a camera. That camera is a portal through augmented reality. And so you can do stuff like, I don't know, like on, put like in a road map on like Google Maps or something, pothole, or I don't know. Like it's truly limitless contributions. It's hard to even come up with an example since there are so many. But it could be something as easy as on a hiking trail, there's this arrow that points and says shortcut. And then there you go, you have like a scenic route. It's just, they're trying to make a shared reality that sits on top of the one that we currently exist on, and therefore to like basically promote humanity in the digital age. I don't know. It's hard to articulate. But given that 1 in 8 people on the planet have Facebook, it is the platform that would be able to take it to the stratosphere. Because Snapchat, as of yet, is the pioneer in augmented reality. They've had their filters for a good couple of years now, and people aren't even aware of it. Pokemon Go also, but that's kind of fizzled. I'm so happy I don't hear people talking about it anymore.
I see people playing it quite
That's
often,
crazy,
so
man.
it's still a thing.
How is that still a thing?
I mean, people still have groups that they get together on weekends and play. Like, it's not
I mean,
a
I'm not
massive
gonna. Yeah, I'm
phenomenon,
not
but people
gonna.
are still into it.
I'm not gonna shit on that. Like, if you do something with your friends, and you have a good time. That's
Yeah,
cool. But
people still bond over it.
I like that. That's cool. I mean, I played it for a
Yeah.
couple of days. I deleted it a couple of days
Like,
later.
no one's obsessively like, I'm gonna go out on my own and chase some Pokemon unless you're a
Good.
diehard fan.
Like,
But
I don't know how you could even be a diehard fan. It's not a real game. It's an augmented reality application where you pretend to be a Pokemon trainer. Like it, I don't know. It didn't do it for me. It didn't have enough bells and whistles. But yeah, they're hoping that those kinds of trends will help them, promote better life, which could work, couldn't work. I don't know. I'm excited in their VR content. Just AR slipped its way in there. As I said, this is the VR segment. This is not a bigger news item, but a much more interesting thing, especially if you're listening primarily for our movie coverage. Ridley Scott, who's no stranger to VR, just launched a new arm at RSA, which is Ridley Scott. I don't know what the A stands for. Arts. I'm not sure. And it's called RSA VR, which is the same thing but virtual reality. And it's dedicated to mixed reality, and they're going to kick off things in a couple of weeks with Alien Covenant. There's going to be an experience, who knows when, probably in the very, very near future. And given
it's hitting
that,
theaters in a month, so
yeah,
most likely.
yeah, most likely it could be after release, but I don't know. I would assume it's going to be at the same time. But given that The Martian, one of his films, basically created the VR tie-in experience, I would assume that this is going to be awesome. Hopefully, maybe if it's not them, someone else is doing something for the new Blade Runner. I mean, I've talked about this on the show before. Every major tentpole needs a VR experience now. Whether that be a full-on game like Mission Impossible's getting, or just an experience like The Mummy is, or something like Alien Covenant. Like, given that horror lends itself really well to VR, this is going to work really good. I'm probably not going to do it. Fuck off. If you want to see me do it, pay the money. Patreon, donate. I'll do it. I don't want to do it. But yeah,
Afraid to have some hug in your face.
that would be scary, man. It's like, you ever have a vagina try to rape your face? No? Well, face hugger. There you go, xenomorphs.
I might freak out too because Alien still freaks me out, man. I love that movie, but I'm fucked for life
You know,
after seeing that as a kid.
you know how mad I would be in that first Alien film if it ended with the xenomorph killing the cat? I would not watch
Oh,
any of the other
man.
movies. I like that the cat is almost the hero, you know?
Cat's not the hero. The cat just takes a ride along.
Cat's almost the hero.
She saves the fucking cat.
Only 2 people survive. And it's her, well, 3 people. Her nipples, and the cat, you know? 3 1. I still want to know what the explanation. It was like, yeah. Just get in your underwear and jump in there. Like, how they got that. How they filmed that. It's like, oh, no, it's like 40 degrees in here. Yeah, don't worry. It's good for the camera. It's good for you. Keeps you alive. Germs don't like the cold. The aliens won't either.
I think the conversation may have been more along the lines of, "Hey, do you want to live at the end of this movie or die?"
It's like, didn't you see Star Wars? There's no bras in space. Take that off.
You know what? Sigourney Weaver became a superstar after that, so I doubt she fucking cares after the fact.
She definitely doesn't care. She's still fucking aliens this many years later. Look at
Still
Avatar.
fucking owns that role.
Look at
so.
Avatar. I still don't think it's beyond them to make an actual Alien sequel with Ripley again. I still think that's going to happen, even though Ridley Scott's talking like, oh yeah, I got Covenant, and I got this one, and I got this one. I want to make like 10 sequels to Prometheus. I would hope.
No, he's gonna have other projects he's interested
Oh,
in.
yeah,
It
no.
took this long for a Prometheus sequel to happen. Like,
No,
come on, dude.
but I really do think, given that Fox is so hungry, given all the dates that we fucking rambled off a couple of minutes ago, that they have to be trying to get every one of their franchises like in full like afterburner thrust mode, and
Also,
Alien
though,
is a proven one.
Let's be honest. How big do you think Covenant's gonna be?
A medium-sized movie. I think it's gonna be.
Like, I think it might be smaller than Prometheus, to be honest.
I think it's gonna be bigger than Prometheus for one reason only, and that's the fact that Alien is in the title. There's better name recognition there. Like,
Yeah, but
selling
even then,
Prometheus.
I don't know. Prometheus though, like that. Granted, even though not everybody knew, like I thought the marketing was a lot stronger than there. Here, there might be name brand recognition, but when trailers come up, no one seems to care.
I want to see it. I want to see it in 3D.
I'm not gonna see it. I'm sitting this one out because I really just don't care for what I see.
I don't
Like
know
I'm just
if I'm gonna see it in theaters. I'm definitely gonna see it
yeah.
eventually, but I'm
Oh,
curious what Danny McBride is gonna do in a Ridley Scott movie as like the captain of a spaceship. Like that sounds enticing.
that's not enough for me,
I want to see
honestly.
the continuation of the David Android character. Um, I don't know. Just the scenery was so good in Prometheus, and this is a return to most of it. That I'm curious. I have a feeling like I'll get a free movie ticket for, or like a $2 ticket for this one from T-Mobile, and so I'll probably see it for that reason. But
I'm sitting this one out, man. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. I'll see.
Just I don't know. I'm really tired of franchises at this point. That like there's very few things that appeal to me. I've become so jaded when it comes to blockbusters now, and I really hate that. But yeah, like I'm starting to feel cynical now. Like these feel more like marketing tools because there's just so many of them.
Well, especially Alien. I mean, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, but then again, like one of the things I didn't talk about in the Fox block, um, I didn't talk about the push dates. They pushed Predator, which I'm not a fan of. That was going to be this upcoming February. Now it's in August. There's like a couple other moves that happen. So I don't know. Like it seems like they worked on this one for a while. Like it was probably in development, even though we all thought that Neil Blomkamp was going to get his Alien film. Seems like
Hmm.
this one's in development for a good couple of years. So I don't know. It seems like it's
It
a
just
direct
seems like
sequel
another
to
horror flick.
Prometheus.
So
I'm okay with that though. Like
yeah, I mean, well,
it's like
it's
a
just like
bigger, it's
yeah.
bigger than just a horror flick. Like it's an established franchise. It is sci-fi. It's horror, and also it's gonna continue the canon that kind of fleshes out all the questions that we've had for a long time. Like Prometheus did a good job of answering questions, but also raised more than answered. And this is, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I see. It's
It's
like
not
we
my
pretend
favorite
that these are
franchise,
asking
but
questions, and it's like, really, are these really fucking massive questions we needed the answers to? Like, I mean, what makes Alien fucking scary is that it's about what's out there in the unknown. You don't need to fucking answer that. Just remain afraid of that idea of what's out there in the unknown. Like,
well, I mean,
I
Alien became
really,
more about genetic modification and the idea of creating a master hunter. And so when you throw in like the Weyland-Yutani's corporation's role in
mhm.
creating the xenomorph, it it makes it pretty interesting. Like just in terms of
It's an
where we're
interesting
going
angle, but it's
now.
like, do I need to see
No, of
that?
course we don't need to see it, but I want
Yeah.
to see it.
I don't care to really.
Like
It's idea. It's food for thought, but it's like I don't know, man. Just
I might see this one as a date.
yeah.
Like I started. Oh no, it's not exactly a story for the podcast. That's when I have a real romance. But like someone I've been talking to on and off again for like 3 years is finally single for once, and so like we just started talking, and
Hmm.
I don't know. Maybe we'll be more than just talking by the time this one lands.
It's an interesting choice.
She's into the horror films, so
All right,
you know.
good enough.
I want to see it for other reasons than scary things, but hey, that might be good pairing. Back to VR though. Sony, they're continuing their streak of finally getting things. As I was mentioning, Guy Ritchie would make an appearance on the show again, and here it is. Sony has a Snatch show on their streaming service Crackle. I haven't seen it. I know Rupert
Hmm.
Grint is in it. The first season already ended. It's probably okay. They have a second season coming already, and as a way to promote it, in between the two seasons, they're making a VR experience, which as of now is only going to be on PSVR, which is just really, really smart. This show, as I said, is on Crackle, which is a Sony service. They film it, they distribute it. Why not also have a promotional tie-in on a
Hmm.
platform that only those users are likely to use? As I would imagine that Crackle's viewer base is like 70% PlayStation devices, just in the way that they used to heavily market the service alone on PS3 and a lot less so on PS4. But even still, you just know it's like, oh, this is a Sony thing. But like even on Xbox, you can watch it. But I just have a feeling like it's one of their main. It's like a shoe-in market. Um, like I said, they're finally getting it. Last month, they put out that Ghostbusters game, which is episodic. It was like, hey, this is also only on PSVR. We own this franchise. We have the license. How about have a game for the movie that we put out last year and we're trying to reboot? If they continue this again, I think these two are proof that Spider-Man: Homecoming is definitely going to do the same thing. It's just I wouldn't be amazed if it was actually on all platforms and wasn't even made by Sony in that case. But that's what I'm waiting for. They have a game out there already called Windlands where you're basically Spider-Man. With your controllers, you can swing from tree to tree, and it works. It works really well. The sense of speed is awesome. That I think they could basically just take that and make it Spider-Man, and it would be a great marketing tool. So we'll see. That's if that comes, that would probably be in about a month or two. I really hope that's a thing. Like truly, like they have Comic Con happens before Spider-Man: Homecoming. Show that off at Comic Con. Show that. I want that. Last little tiny VR thing here because the week wasn't huge. Baobab, the VR company that did Invasion, which is not the best VR short, but it's probably the most accessible, and it's just pretty good animation. They're debuting their new VR animated project at Tribeca, and it's got a good cast. It's going to be starring the voice talents of John Legend, Diego Luna, Constance Wu. So it's international. You got a black dude, you got a Mexican dude, you got an Asian chick. So that has widespread appeal. I don't know if it's going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be free. I really hope it is, and it doesn't even have a title right now, I don't think. Invasion, though, if you haven't seen it, you can watch it everywhere. It's on all the major VR headsets. It's on PSVR, Oculus Rift, HTC Vive. You're watching Google Cardboard and Daydream. It's literally everywhere. It's like, I want to say it's 6 minutes long. I've seen it once. I tried to rewatch it. I didn't think there was anything to do again. I was kind of proved right. But it's basically Pixar animation for free, which isn't bad. It'll be a lot worse. Here's the little last piece of tech news before we take another break. And this is not about VR, but about something that is going to tie into that in the near future. Samsung and Amazon have announced HDR10 Plus, which is the latest in high dynamic range technology from them. This is going to better compete or allow them to better compete against Dolby Vision. Dolby Vision is Dolby's in-house HDR tech that lots of people have clung on to. Sony, LG, I think someone else out there. And it's only in certain TVs. And the reason for that is that there's a licensing fee you have to pay to use Dolby Vision. A lot of the studios use it. Warner Brothers already has films out there, including like the Lego Movie and Batman vs. Superman, that use Dolby Vision coding. And it looks better, 100%. It uses stuff like frame rendering through like frame by frame. They use metadata to articulate like which things are supposed to be this bright, whatever. And HDR10 is going to get closer to that because the current 10 is just like, oh, it's HDR, but it's on everything. All the video game systems use it. Phones use it. It's not the standard, but they're trying to be. And 10 Plus is going to help bridge that gap, I think. This is obviously going to be on Samsung TVs. As I said, it is a Samsung technology. I wouldn't be surprised if it makes its way to their mobile phone soon, especially considering that they do have HDR content on there, so it's probably 10 Plus. I don't know. I don't have an S8. And then the real thing, like I said, this is Amazon too. So I'm pretty sure the Amazon content that's out there that's in 4K HDR is going to be up converted to 10 Plus. But like I said, the real thing that matters here is VR currently is not in HDR. It's not even in 4K. And so it's a lot easier to get HDR on a 1080 display than it is to do 4K because just the price point is a lot different there. And so I highly anticipate second generation VR headsets, whatever they're going to be called, to not only have 4K or maybe even 5K displays, but also HDR10 or Dolby Vision or whatever the successor to that is whenever they come to a unified HDR branding. And that's when we'll get the true, that's when we get the VR that is so amazingly good looking that there's Uncanny Valley and you think that you're in the game. So yeah, won't that be cool? Here's the second ad break though, aka water break 2.0. I had some good water. I tried to watch the Lego Movie in 3D this week and I totally fell asleep. Like straight up. It was like right after Batman joined the group. They got to Cuckoo Land. Like,
you telling me that the VR experience made you fall asleep, or
I was just tired. Like I was
tired?
Unikitty's my favorite character. I love that I actually own a Unikitty Lego. And so we get to Cloud Cuckoo Land, and I'm like all in the experience, but I was just totally falling asleep with my VR headset on. It was late. It was like 2 a.m. or something. I just went, nah, I'm tired. Like I didn't even get out of bed. I just like took it off and put it in my chair.
2 a.m. right now, and I'm super tired.
Yeah, imagine watching a movie with a big hat strapped to your face. In bed. Like, I was watching it laying down. like staring at the ceiling. Like I couldn't do it. Like when I watched the conversation last night, I was pretty tired. But like I pushed through it. I almost fell asleep. I was like, no, wake the fuck up. Keep watching this movie. And then it got really good, and I wasn't tired anymore. But yeah, I was doing something. Speaking of, when we did our intermission after Deaths of Cinema, I looked up Hugh Jackman's filmography. After Heist, he did a couple of things. The big one I can't believe I missed: Royal Tenenbaums in 2001.
You mean Gene Hackman, right?
Yeah.
You said Hugh Jackman.
Oops, their names sound familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gene Hackman. He did Heist in 2001. Austin 2001, he was in The Mexican in like a cameo. He did The Royal Tenenbaums, which is the one that I can't believe I missed. And then most importantly, in 2001, he also did Behind Enemy Lines. Really, really busy. But here's the two. So I've seen the final couple movies he made. 2003 did Runaway Jury, which is awesome. And then he did Welcome to Mooseport in 2004. His final movie is the Ray Romano movie where he plays the ex-president.
Really?
Yeah. Don't go out on that, dude. He needs to come back. Don't let your career end on Welcome to Mooseport. I've seen that movie.
I haven't.
With
good reason.
It's like, here's the concept. Basically,
I know they're running for mayor.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
running against
the president, like he just left office a couple years ago. Still the president. He moves to this small ass town, Mooseport, because they have good golf greens. They have a good golf link, I guess. And Ray Romano is like the everyone loves him local dude that owns a hardware store, and he decides to run for mayor because his girlfriend like kind of eggs him on. And then Gene Hackman basically is so smitten by Ray Romano's girlfriend that he decides to run for mayor against him to win the girl that he loves. That's his final movie.
Yeah, I won't be saying that.
No, it's not bad. It's Ray Romano. Don't you like Ray Romano?
Yeah, what good movies has he done?
Well, Ray Romano's a comedian. It's not about his movies.
I know. It's just everybody loves Ray. That's it.
Raymond.
Is that the?
Yeah, everybody loves Raymond.
I'm tired.
And then he's in. Was he in Entourage? He's totally in an Entourage episode.
Maybe for a little bit. But...
No, yeah, he's not a movie guy. It's a weird idea.
He shows up in Funny People in a pretty funny moment.
He's like, fuck you. No, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Here's the headlines. Here's the big news items, and there's only a couple this week, so it's super easy. As I said at the top of the show, Netflix finally shared their fucking numbers. This is pretty unprecedented. So they have said, well, first off, this weekend they hit 100 million subscribers. So basically, given, it's an international service, well, 1 in 3 Americans, based on the numbers, have Netflix.
Yeah, that's fair.
The cooler statistic is that since The Ridiculous 6 has been streaming, over 500 million hours of Adam Sandler content has been watched. That's amazing. I'll put that into perspective. On a weekly basis...
Does that apply solely for the Netflix stuff?
I think just for the Netflix stuff. On a weekly basis... I mean,
that's not really numbers being released. They're just... that's a guesstimate figure.
No,
right?
that's a real number. They said 500 million hours of Adam Sandler content has streamed since Ridiculous 6.
Over 500 million, so that's basically a guesstimate.
They have the real number. That's in the... If they said 516.57 billion, or million, rather, no one would give a shit. Like, that's a weird number. We would be reporting it the same way. It's more than 500 million hours, all right? Mm-hmm. In a given week, 1 billion hours are streamed. So this week, half of all of the streamed hours, that many times, Adam Sandler's been watched on Netflix, which I think is awesome. But the better thing about these numbers isn't necessarily like, oh yeah, look how successful they are, because it's not that impressive, but it kind of is, because there's nothing to compare it to, because you don't know what the other stuff has gotten. Like, if they said Beast of No Nation has this many hours, or whatever, that's got this many hours, there'd be a bigger conversation. What is notable is they were talking about, Reed Hastings said, yeah, in a given week we get about 1 billion hours of streaming. YouTube takes a single day to get that many hours. Obviously, YouTube is free. There's way more content. You watch it in a different kind of way. It's 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there before you know it's been an hour. Netflix is, let me watch something for an hour, hour and a half, 5 hours in one passing, maybe once a week. YouTube, you can do it every day for like little blocks. YouTube is international, truly. Netflix is not. There's a pay window. But YouTube's viewing hours is only 7 to 1 what Netflix is. Which isn't that big of a margin, if you think about it, given those kind of factors. That Netflix costs $11 a month, and YouTube is free. And only 7 times the amount of viewership is had on YouTube versus Netflix. It's something...
Yeah, that's fair.
It's curious. Like, out of the... just putting this in perspective, they have 100 million subscribers... 500 million hours of Adam Sandler's been watched in just like a 6-month window or something like that, 7-month window. And they didn't have 100 million then. So each of their subscribers to date has watched 5 hours of Adam Sandler content. If you look at that number, the strangest thing about that isn't enough time for actually all of his Happy Madison Netflix content. Because Ridiculous 6 is 2.5 hours. Sandy Wexler is 2 hours. The Do-Over is 2 hours. So if you do...
All like over 6 hours.
Yeah.
Like maybe probably 7.
Yeah, like closer to 7.
Well, yeah.
If you did an average, that would mean, based on my statistics right here off the cuff, that the average Netflix subscriber has not finished an Adam Sandler movie.
Well, the Do-Over is kind of worth giving up on after a certain point.
Sure, but I mean, it's just, I don't know, kind of funny. Here's the other thing. You might want to wake up for this. This is the real news story. So the big thing that happened in Hollywood this week wasn't Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It wasn't the Avatar dates. It wasn't Deadpool getting a calendar day. It was James Bond 25. Mm-hmm. So there's a bidding war going on in town, actually, and it's got 5 studios interested. Obviously Sony, because they've distributed the last 5 or 6 Sony James Bond films. Warner Brothers wants it because they have so much money, because AT&T is buying them. Why the fuck not? Fox, because as we stated, they only have so many tentpoles, they need more. Universal, because they're hurting for another one besides the ones that we've already listed. Jurassic Park, they don't do Transformers. Jurassic Park, Fast and Furious, and their Monsters movies. The final one, though, and this is what's curious, and this is what I alluded to earlier, is Annapurna. I'm not exactly sure how they got even in the discussion in the first place, because I wouldn't think they have the cap room to even fund a James Bond film. But Megan Ellison has a history of making blockbusters. She's a junior producer on Terminator Genesis that her father did. Or his brother, not father.
Her brother, his company's Skydance.
Yeah, Skydance. So Skydance does a lot of blockbusters, so I'm sure she can get in touch with the people that he knows. They can get the backers. I'm not sure. But here's what's really interesting. Last week, Megan Ellison landed the MGM deal. MGM is going to be internationally distributing all of Annapurna's films starting this year with Kathryn Bigelow's Detroit. On top of that, Hulu has exclusive rights to Annapurna. And then even more interesting than that, Kathryn Bigelow, she's just finished Detroit. Megan Ellison clearly is in cahoots with her. Annapurna is in the running for James Bond. It is not without... It's in the realm of possibilities that Kathryn Bigelow, the director of Point Break, could feasibly direct the next James Bond movie. Whether that be at Annapurna, I'm not sure. But I think that's part of the conversation. I would love that. How do you make James Bond more interesting? How about a female director? How do you make a female director who's only been doing political stuff do something different? Oh, I don't know. How about a James Bond movie where Brexit is the enemy? I'd buy it.
Well, also she's no stranger to making fun action movies like Point Break. But, another thing that they got to consider, though, is they probably are going to have to reintroduce Bond at that point because it's still up in the air whether...
Daniel Craig hasn't confirmed he's coming back. But the reason why this big bidding war is happening is basically that he will. If Sony wins, which they probably will, especially if Spider-Man does good this year, or does well, and the Emoji Movie. If the two of those are successes, which Spider-Man almost can't be at this point, they'll have enough money. PlayStation is doing so well that they've got the money to throw at whoever is necessary. The big name directors have kind of moved on. They need someone new. I mean, as cool as it'd be to see Guillermo del Toro do one, I just don't see that
That
happening.
seems like a weird
It's like Shape
combo,
of Water
honestly.
did get a release date too this week. That's coming. It's coming the same day, basically. That it's Christmas. It's coming out when Steven Spielberg's movie comes out, Pentagon Papers. I think it's the 18th or something like that. We should be getting a trailer, I think, next week for that one. I'm not gonna watch it on purpose, but I would love for Kathryn Bigelow to do this. It's like I'm sure I'm gonna see Detroit, but this is a 100% political movie in the same way that Zero Dark 30 and not SEAL Team 6. Oh man, I saw it. It's in the first season of Dollar Reviews. No, that's Dark 30.
Yeah,
I'm
that,
thinking of
yeah. Hurt Locker.
Hurt Locker. Yeah. So Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30, Detroit, super political. Before those, like, what happened to her fun movies? K-19, The Widowmaker, Near Dark, Strange Days, Point Break. Like, she had a great library of fun, like, action genre movies, and then she flipped the script and became, like, the go-to, let's make a, like, Go America type film. I think this would be a
It's
great,
only two movies at this point, too.
like,
Maybe
two,
three now.
two and a half. Like, Detroit is 100% a Black Lives Matter, people stand up and protest. Here's a Pepsi, stop the violence type of kind of thing. Like, it, and not to mention, like,
Sorry, did you just say here's a Pepsi?
yeah, here's a Pepsi.
Jeez.
Pepsi should totally have product placement in this Detroit movie. That'll make it sell big time. It's like, what if that commercial was actually an early trailer for Detroit?
Sure, but then in Detroit, the reality would probably be that that person gets the shit beat out of them.
Well, I'm sure everyone in
Just like
Detroit drinks
frying
Pepsi
something.
because they don't have clean water anyway. So so. But I don't know. It's conjecture. No one knows what's going to happen at this point. We don't know if Daniel Craig's coming back. We don't know when this movie's going to come. We don't have a title. Hopefully, Blofeld makes an appearance again.
I don't even know if we had a script.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they got a script, but we don't know if Blofeld's going to show up again. Hopefully, Q does, and Bond, and Moneypenny, and all the people that they've finally established after way too many films, in my opinion. But it's still one of those franchises that has legs because it can always be topical. It's like with rotating Bonds, they can always talk about whatever's happening now, and they got a great opportunity. How do you top the shakeup that happened to MI6 at the end of the last film? Oh, I don't know. How about the UK leaving the EU? That's a good place to start. So, like, they got something on paper that is really going to work, and they just got to get the right talent behind it. Daniel Craig needs it. I think this is going to be, hopefully it's his last role as Bond. Like, do it on a triumphant note because, not Skyfall. No, Skyfall was the last one. It's like, no, Spectre.
No, Spectre.
Yeah, like, Spectre wasn't bad, but
It's not much either.
yeah, exactly. Like, compared to Skyfall, it's a bigger step in the right direction, and especially Quantum. But given that I just got Casino Royale on DVD and Die Another Day for that matter, like, Spectre wasn't a fun Bond movie. I want a fun one. I want one where you're in the theater and you cheer out loud because it was so awesome. And I don't know. I think they forgot about that along the way, making the serious Batman Begins franchise.
Well, Skyfall, I'd say, was kind of that. Like, there were definitely
There's moments,
cheer-worthy moments in there that end.
but it ends
There's a
with
lot
like
of badass.
it ends with like 40
Stuff in
minutes of super serious James Bond family drama, which I didn't even know was a thing in that universe. Like, I didn't know.
It kind of introduced that,
Yeah.
but also, I mean, it does end on a high note.
It's like I didn't know mommy issues was at the heart of James Bond.
It ends on a note that gets you pumped up for what's next, and I mean, I don't really remember the ending of Spectre. It wasn't like it pulled a Quantum of Solace where it was like,
No, I'm pretty sure the ending of Spectre is Blofeld. It's basically the Blofeld reveal and the idea that he has of League of
I mean,
of
like
villains.
the ending though.
No,
Like,
wasn't it Money? Oh, it was Ralph Fiennes becoming the new M. That was basically the
that was
ending.
Skyfall.
Was that
No, that's
Skyfall? Yeah, I don't remember the end of Spectre then at all. I remember the opening sequence because that was really cool in Mexico, but I almost don't remember any of the movie. Just who the villain was.
I remember bits of it.
Like, I remember
Dave
Christoph
Bautista
Waltz.
was there for whatever reason, but
Like, I remember Christoph Waltz because he was like built up so big, And it was like, oh, he's not Blofeld. He's not Blofeld. He's not Blofeld. It's like, yeah, fucking bullshit. Okay. But I probably won't rewatch that movie either anytime.
Yeah, maybe when I mean, maybe this Christmas for me or whenever a new Bond is coming out. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. Final thing in the show. Talking about a new Bond. As I said, there's a new Nintendo on the horizon. Even though they got a system out right now with like no games for it, they got another one coming on Friday. But hey, it's a game that you bought 5 years ago. Uh, Following the Nintendo, the NES Classic Edition, which is already off store shelves. If you're listening right now, you probably missed your chance to buy them at Best Buy. They have them on sale today, Monday the 24th. Hopefully those disappear real fast, and then all the people on eBay that are trying to sell them for like $600 die a fiery, slow death. But the rumor is, and I even started this rumor a couple of months ago, that the Super NES Classic Edition is going to be coming this Christmas. I think it's not a rumor. I think it's 100% happening. I think it's going to be the exact same window. The idea is starting Black Friday, buy this box. It looks like a Super Nintendo, but it's a lot smaller. It doesn't actually play real games. It has 30 ROMs built on. You can't download the games. You get the ones that you get it with. It's impossible to find, but it's at a great price point, $59.99. And once it's gone forever. I think Nintendo doesn't understand business. I think the Switch had a great successful launch, but they truly ham-fisted it. They didn't understand what sells a system. Matter of fact, since Zelda sold more copies on the Switch, that means more than anything else out there. But literally, if they do put this thing out this Christmas, it will probably have more games on it than the Switch does at the time of release, which is something to just scramble your brain to think about. Because right now, I think there's like 10 games on the system, which isn't too shabby, but there are more PSVR games than that when it launched. Even still, we're talking about a month down the line, and it's a clusterfuck. I know this thing's gonna sell though, big time. Even if it's $80 instead of $60 this time, it's gonna sell a lot. People are still gonna want it. It's still gonna be the number one stocking stuffer. I'm sure it's gonna look cool, and based on what games it has, I'm sure I'll know someone that buys it. The problem is though, it's just where do they go from here? Like, I'm still under the assumption that the NES Classic should have allowed you to either A, download the games of your choosing when you bought them legally, B, get a free digital copy of the games that you bought legally forever ago, or C, and most importantly, if you bought the games on the Nintendo Virtual Console in the last 10 years and you legally have a digital copy of it, that you can play that copy of the game on the system that looks like the system it's supposed to be on. But no, that would make too much sense for the Japanese people that don't understand things. I don't know. I just don't get it. It's like Nintendo needs to do anything they can to stay afloat. Just I hope they drown if they keep this kind of bullshit up. But that's a show. We're all over the internet.
People buy into it though, man.
It's Nintendo. There's some kind of like PlayStation has a big fan base. Xbox has a big fan base. But neither of those camps will ever be at the place Nintendo is, just because everyone grew up, well, less so nowadays, but everyone grew up with Nintendo. It was probably the first games you played.
Those games and those characters are still iconic.
Exactly. It's the first kinds of games that you played that video games truly made sense. They just made it got it, you know? It's been 30 years now, and they haven't learned much since then. Not much has evolved. It's pretty much the same games, which a lot of people love because they're pure of heart and they like things staying the way they were. It's like total nostalgia factor. But I've evolved over time. I've matured, and my games have too. And until the day that a Nintendo game has wall-to-wall voice acting, or baby friend integration, or a list of achievements so you can mark what you've done in the game, or any countless number of things, to be honest.
Honestly, there's something wrong that sounds about that when it comes to Nintendo, though. Like,
here's
it's
one.
Kind of nice that it stays classic, you know?
Here's something. How about if you put a video game system out there that is actually literally a tablet, that you can use the internet on it as a browser, or for Facebook, or for YouTube, or for Netflix, or anything that a tablet's used for, instead of it literally being a video game system only. It is the craziest thing. Like, it's $300, which is super cheap for a tablet. My tablet, my RCA tablet, was $100. This thing, spec-wise, is not as good as my tablet, but hey, at least has real controllers and you play Nintendo games on it. But until they allow that kind of functionality on this thing, which is totally doable, but they're so backwards that they haven't done it, and instead of promising, hey, it will come eventually, if they actually do that thing, I might actually break down and buy it. The problem is, it's Nintendo, and they probably won't announce that kind of thing for a long time, in the same way that, hey, they made three video game systems that ran off of disc-based media, and not one of those did anything outside of play their own proprietary disc formats, which is just the craziest thing that's ever happened, probably in the world of manufacturing. Is that disc the same size as a CD or DVD or Blu-ray? Yeah. Can I play CDs, DVDs, or Blu-rays on that? No. Why not?
Just cause.
Just because we're Nintendo.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WordPress, Tumblr, Google Play Music, iTunes, Podcast, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, SoundCloud, Podcat. We're dollar reviews. If you like the content, like us, subscribe, follow, retweet, whatever you want to do. Hope it's been a pleasure. Hope you learned something new. And if you haven't learned something new, I didn't do my job right. Have a good one.
Good night.